Welcome to Hire Power, the show where we cut through the noise and get real about hiring. I'm Kim Frost, founder of Frost Connections, and after 25 plus years in the search industry, I've seen what works and what absolutely doesn't. If you're a founder, CEO, VP, or HR leader who's tired of bad hires and ready to build a team that actually fits your culture and vision, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. In today's episode, it's all about feedback. It isn't mean, it's leadership. I'm a big believer in transparency, if you haven't picked that up by now. And you've probably heard me say before, I try to lead with truth and compassion, something I picked up from a leader that's always stuck with me. When I talk with professionals, I let them know my philosophy. I'm honest, direct, transparent. Hopefully you find me respectful, and all I ask is the same in return. While some find that refreshing, let's be real, not everybody wants to hear the truth. Giving feedback is tough. One of my former clients, who later became a colleague and then eventually my manager, told me, Kim, you always tell the truth, but sometimes people just don't want to hear it. And she was right. The truth can be hard to swallow. This feels especially true with Gen Z. As more and more are entering the workforce, it's so key that we know how to deliver feedback. Feedback that isn't wrapped in positivity can be met with resistance or flat out shut down. One popular method is the classic compliment sandwich. Say something nice, deliver the hard message, then end on another positive note. But as Harvard Business Review found that when feedback is structured this way, the actual issue often gets lost. Sometimes there are tears, sometimes people shut down. But here's the thing. Feedback, real feedback, is essential. Not just for individual growth, but for leadership. Giving clear, constructive direction is one of the most important things a strong leader can do. So how do you do it well? I found it really comes in two questions. What's the why behind the feedback? And what is the goal? If you can stay grounded in those two things, the conversation may still be hard, but it won't be unclear. And that's what matters. So let me talk about how to give difficult feedback, because it's just not what you say. The old adage is, it's how you say it. And let me say this up front. Be direct. Don't dance around the issue. People aren't mind readers. When you sugarcoat, hint, or talk in circles, the real message gets lost and nothing changes. You're not doing anyone any favors by being vague. So here's what I've learned. Get clear on your intent. Before anything leaves your mouth, ask yourself, what's the point of this conversation? Is it to correct behavior? Improve performance? Build trust? If your goal is to support, not shame, that mindset will naturally guide you on your tone and approach. By all means, don't wait. The longer you wait, the harder it gets, and the more it builds up. If someone's missing deadlines or derailing meetings, bring it up when it happens. Otherwise, it becomes a laundry list later on, and that's when people shut down. Say what needs to be said clearly. This is where a lot of leaders fail. They try to be too nice, so they end up being confusing. Forget the compliment sandwich. Be clear and kind, but don't soften your message so much that they miss the point. Say it straight. Here's what I've noticed. Here's how it's impacting the team. And here's what I need going forward. Direct doesn't mean cold. It means honest, with respect. Think of it this way. A friend, a spouse, someone is telling you, I'm really upset with you. When you say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, tell me what it is. And the response is, oh, you know what it is. I love that. No, they don't. While we all would love to be mind readers, we can't. People can't. So be clear. Make it a two-way conversation. This isn't a monologue. Create space for the other person to respond. Ask things like, does that make sense? Or how do you see it? It's amazing what comes out when you leave room for dialogue, and it makes the feedback land better. Focus on the behavior, not the person. Always stick to the facts. You were late to the meeting 3 times last week is very different from you're unreliable. One is a pattern you can address. The other is a judgment. And that's when people shut down or get defensive. By all means, keep your cool, even if they don't. Sometimes feedback stings. You might get tears, silence, or defensiveness. Your job isn't to fix their feelings, it's to stay steady. Let the emotion happen, but don't get pulled off course. Don't be afraid to pause the meeting if it's going off the rails. If this happens, you can say, this isn't my intention. Why don't we pause and schedule another meeting to continue? Does tomorrow work for you? Which leads me to my last point. Circle back. This one often gets missed. Feedback isn't just about the moment, it's about growth. Follow up. A week or 2 later, check in. How are you feeling about our conversation? Have you made progress? What additional support do you need? That turns feedback into development. The bottom line, be respectful, be direct, and remember, the goal isn't to win the conversation, it's to help someone improve. If you're dancing around the truth, you're not being kind. You're just avoiding discomfort. And honestly, that's not leadership. Let me leave you with a quick story, because you know I like my stories. One of my clients had an employee that had been with the company over 20 years. Technically, they were solid. They got the job done. But behind the scenes, teammates were struggling with this person's tone, delivery, and overall attitude. Most importantly, this brought morale down. The complaints started making their way up to the president, my client. He encouraged the team to be honest and deliver the feedback themselves. It'll mean more coming from you, he told them. They even implemented peer reviews. And guess what happened? Crickets. They chickened out. No one had the guts to actually say the hard things out loud. But the frustration, it kept growing. So, what did my client do next? How did they finally deliver the feedback in a way that landed? And what happened next? Stay tuned for next week's episode when I sit down with my client to walk through exactly how they handled the situation and the surprising results that followed. You definitely don't want to miss it. That's it for this episode of Hire Power. If you're ready to hire smarter, connect with me at frostconnections.com or at LinkedIn at Kim Frost. And if you've got something to say about today's episode, follow the show and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, hire smart, lead better, and remember, how you hire is who you become. See you next week. No fluff, just better hires.